Richard, Mario, thanks for taking the time to speak to me today. We're here obviously at the Global Offshore Wind event in Manchester. Again, thanks for taking the time.
Hi Mario, it's great to be here at Global Offshore Wind. Would you mind just giving us a bit of background on HIGHVOLT as a company?
HIGHVOLT is a company based in Dresden, Germany. We are in the market for more than 120 years. Currently the main focus in helping customers, OEMs, with energy transition, so providing equipment for test fields to produce all the transformers, cables, GIS, switchgear and so on, which are needed to transition to net zero in the end. We are here at Global Offshore Wind especially because we have test equipment to test export cables, the array cables to the wind farms, and we also have monitoring systems to check the integrity of the cable insulation during normal operation, looking for partial discharge on the one end, but also in worst case, if a cable dies, for the dead cry of a cable, and to then be able to tell the operators of the cable right away where to look for the fault and then start the repair almost immediately.
Could you tell us a bit about the challenges that our clients are facing and how we're working to support them in those challenges?
Yeah, I guess one of the major challenges our customers face is that if we talk about offshore, there's a lot of joints we have to install offshore, and offshore installation of joints is always a bit of a challenge because you do it under the rough conditions at sea. So that's why testing of the cables, including the joints and termination, becomes more and more important because if you have tested, you find most of the assembly faults, and if you do that, then you can rectify it before you actually put the cable, the wind farm into operation, and accordingly you can reduce the risk of a sudden failure, and then also you can reduce the risk or minimize the risk of not being able to transport the generated energy to the customers.
Could you give us a bit of insight into the different test technologies that are used for testing inter-array cables and why our customers come to us for resident testing?
Traditionally, customers, and this is known from the onshore market in the range 33 kV, there's technologies like DAC or VLF, which have been very well established, but there are some flaws regarding finding all the faults. That's why very well known variable frequency testing from the high voltage and extra high voltage cables is now making its way into the medium voltage cables as well. And especially offshore, with our offshore WRV system, we can now address that, and we can make sure that with variable frequency, the cables and the terminations and the joints are tested, and hopefully all the faults are found before the wind park is put into operation. Also with the hope that if you do that testing and you find all the faults and you reduce the risk of a sudden failure for the operators of the wind park, for example, insurance rates might drop.
Could you tell me a little bit about the markets? Is HIGHVOLT focused on UK mainly or global?
HIGHVOLT is a worldwide operating company, so we supply equipment from, of course, Germany, but also up down to Australia, worldwide. The main markets for us, or market segments at the moment, are cables, but all kinds of cables and transformers.